What is up, everyone? This is Jay from Dreamers Yugioh, and today I bring you all a video discussing Jack-Knights, my thoughts on the archetype, and what I believe their impact in the game will be. I will also show you some minor combos and deck profile for all of you to test out. So for those of you who didn't know anything about Jack-Knights, it is one of the two new archetypes being released in Extreme Force, the other one being Tindangle, whose backstory is connected to the World Chalice story we have been seeing develop over the past sets. So they follow a general naming scheme of Jack Knight in some color, and the link monster is supposed to be the full color spectrum. So here, for example, we have Jack Knight of the Blue Sky, Jack Knight of the Green Heights, Jack Knight of the Purple Dusk, and other things like that. In terms of effects and what they actually do in game, similar to Magic Bullets, they're another archetype that begins implementing column mechanics and heavily considers card placement on board. Their general effect is they can all special summon themselves to a column with 2 or more cards, and this is an inherent special summoning. Outside of this summoning condition, they all have unique general effects that cover the common things we see in many cards, such as searching, destroying, or special summoning. So in case all of you are a little bit confused of the summoning condition, it's rather simple. Let's say your opponent has 2 cards on board, in this case a Decode Talker and a Set, Spell, or Trap. Because there's 2 cards in the same column, you can go ahead and summon Purple Dusk in that column. Another way that you could do this is, let's say your opponent only has 1 card set, you could set one of your own cards, now there's 2 cards in the same column, and go ahead and special summon Purple Dusk. So in terms of the strengths that the deck has, I believe it has good searching ability and draw power. A good amount of the monsters are level 8, so you can incorporate cards such as Trading for increasing draw power. And both Jack Knight of the Blue Sky and Jack Knight of the Purple Dusk are amazing searchers. And additionally, because of their summoning condition, they can sometimes put damage on board rather quickly. And they're all pretty big monsters, exceeding 2,000 attack, I believe, is their weakest, but going up to 25 with Purple Dusk being their strongest. In terms of the weaknesses, they absolutely cannot play going first. It's very difficult for them to do anything going first, so it's more of a going second deck. Their only going first place includes are if you have Grinder Golem, so you need to give your opponent something in order to be able to have enough cards in the column for you to be able to start summoning their effects. Additionally, I believe they do not really have go-to control cards, so the majority of their monsters can only activate their effects during your turn, and leaving them on board won't really do much to disturb your opponent, so you need to consider other options to disturb your opponent during their turn, such as hand traps, or you could attempt an Exceed version using these monsters. But the monsters they have themselves do not really do much. So based on that, this is a deck I've been testing out so far for you guys to see. So for the deck profile, this is what I have for you all. This deck is based on GCD, so if you haven't seen his YouTube channel, there's a link in the description below. In his channel, he also has some exhibition duels to show you what the deck can accomplish. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So I play triple Jack Knight of the Purple Dusk. It's a really good searcher because to activate a searching effect, you banish it and then search for a specific Jack Knight monster. So one of the nice things that this does is that by banishing it, you can clear the column that is in order to allow you to summon whatever monster you bring in. And the banish is not permanent, it comes back the next turn, but it's really good to be able to remove it from the field that way. The second one is Jack Knight of the Blue Sky. So this one has a unique effect that it can search as many cards up to the number of cards your opponent controls in the same column. So normally it can search 1, but it can search max up to 3 if your opponent controls that many cards in the same column and it's using its extra monster zone. So this is one of the cards that you want to play smart in order to be able to get as much advantage as possible from it. You can easily get 1, but typically you can get 2, sometimes 3 that will really put you ahead in the game. Of the other Jack Knight cards, I like Azure Blue. So Azure Blue has the effect of moving a Jack Knight monster to a different monster zone. So it can move itself, which is really nice. So what you can do is summon it, move it out of the column where it was placed in order to be able to summon another monster, helping you put more monsters on board that you might be able to use for their effects. And then for the utility cards, I play a Crimson Lotus and a Yellow Bloom. So these both have the effect of banishing a Jack Knight monster from the graveyard in order to be able to destroy something in the same column they're in. So Crimson Lotus destroys monsters in the same column, and Yellow Bloom destroys spells or traps in the same column. So these are more
specific and you require some setup since you need Jack Knight monsters in the graveyard. So I like playing each at 1 and 1. I might consider dropping Yellow Bloom in order to just play 2 Crimson Lotus. Now, the other cards the deck plays, you play triple Grinder Golem. Grinder Golem is a really, really good card, and it has really good synergy with this deck since it allows you to place the Grinder Golem in whatever column you want. So one of the things that the deck struggles with is if your opponent is playing passively, or you do not control where your opponent can place cards, it makes it very difficult for you to push your plays. So Grinder Golem, as well as the Kaiju package, helps you at least give you some form of control on your opponent's board by placing cards on it in the location you want. Aside from that, Grinder Golem giving you tokens helps you really do some amazing link plays. And then I have 1 Blackwing Go for the Vague Shadow. So this is mostly just for a Deco Talker play. It's just a strong one-of. And then I play 4 Kaijus. So the Kaijus, again, similar to Grinder Golem, it helps you get rid of your opponent's threats, and you can place them in whatever column you want in order to apply utility on you being able to summon your monsters. And in terms of hand traps, we play 1 Maxi, triple Ash Blossom, and triple Ghost Ogre. So this deck is pretty much built with the idea of going second, so you want to hopefully see at least one of these in your opening hand in order to be able to disrupt your opponent at least a little bit in order for you to come back and set up your plays and put in damage on board. So going second cards, we also play Regeki and Dark Hole, and then we play the Interrupted Kaiju Slumber since we are playing the Kaiju package. Now the Legacy cards, or Jack Knight specific cards, I like playing 2 Key to the World Legacy. This is probably one of the better ones. What it allows you to do is if you can activate it on the same column as your opponent, where your opponent controls a trap card. So if you summon a Jack Knight monster there, by the time your opponent tries to activate the trap card, it would be negated. So this is a really good card for that. It helps you just dodge some of your opponent's cards. And then of draw power, I like playing 2 Desires. You really don't have a single card you care about keeping around, so the Banish 10 really means nothing, but the draw 2 is extremely powerful. And then you play in total 12 level 8 monsters, so Trade-In is a very useful card in order to get rid of some of the ones that might be dead, in order for you to push through your deck in order to acquire cards that you're looking for. I played triple Evenly Match, so the deck is meant to go second, and Evenly Match is just a very powerful card. A lot of times just activating it gives you a free win. So we played 3 of those, and then of the actual traps, we played 2 True Depths sleeping inside the World Legacy. So the reason why I didn't want to play many traps is that I want the deck to go second and have the best shot of doing well when doing that. So traps are pretty slow and you can't do much with them. But this one is really good. So it allows you to revive your Jack Knight monsters, and then it negates monster effects in the same column that Jack Knight monsters are in. So it's a really good card. It can help disrupt your opponent a little bit, but it requires some setups, and some of your Jack Knight monsters need to be in the graveyard in order to make full utility of it. So then some of the cards that I didn't include, I think Green Heist and Flickering Flame are fairly useless for the deck. They just don't help that much. I think they're meant for a slower type of deck, more focused on control. Whispers of the World Legacy is the counter, or not the counter, but kind of the mirror of Key to the World Legacy. So it helps negates the spells that your opponent activates, but your opponent can easily dodge those since a spell card can be activated more fluidly. So it's not a very good card to play, in my opinion. And then the other one, this card is actually a good card, but I feel it's like fairly slow and makes you play some cards that I didn't want to include, such as Terraforming, since it makes you like more likely to get hit by a Droll and Lockbird or some other cards like that. So I'm not playing it right now, but what you can do is you can discard a Jack Knight or a World Legacy card to draw a card. So it's fairly strong because of that. And then one of the nice things that this deck has, but I didn't include in this specific build, is that it doesn't use its normal summon. So an approach you could take in order to make the deck better or to make a different variation of it is include normal summons that are very impactful. So one of the ones that easily comes to mind is Alistair the Invoker, comboed with Invocation. And since the Jack Knight monsters are all light, you can summon Mekk-Knight, which is actually a really strong play. Another card that I feel is impactful is Trickstar Candina, Searching Reincarnation. So it's another like normal summon that can help you get to a really strong play, but I felt that this was better focused for a control deck if you're trying to do that. Then another card to consider is Phantom Skyblaster. So this one's another normal summon that summons tokens for you. So using those tokens, you can try to go into some link plays. It always summons 1 because you control 1 monster with it, but if you were to control 2 monsters, it summons up to 2 tokens, and so on. And then some of the other hand traps for you guys to include, obviously Gamma is the one that comes up frequently. And another one that I've been noticing that's testing fairly well is Effect Veiler. So with the new power cards we are getting in the new set, Extreme Force, Effect Veiler can actually have some really useful applications, hitting Skull D or Electrum and other cards like that. And then just like one mention of another aggro card you guys can try is a Lightning Vortex to destroy more monsters on your opponent's board in order to be able to go for OTKs. Okay, so then of the Link monsters that I play double Link Karibo, triple Link Spider. These are mostly for using with the combos in Grinder Golem. And then I play the one Akashic Magician, double Proxy Dragon. So it's just like more plays to do in order to link up. And then I play the one Ningirsu, one Jack-Knight of the World Scars, one Decode Talker, Skulldie, Firewall, Borreload. And the only card that I feel like really causes disruption to your opponent during their turn, I mean Firewall can do that too, but Hope Harbinger. So you have a lot of level 8 monsters that you could end up on board with. If you just don't want to leave them there doing nothing, you can always exceed into this in order to have a stronger board left behind. So this is pretty much all for the deck, so let me know what you guys think and suggest anything in the comments below of cards you might consider for this deck as it moves forward. Moving on towards the combos, for the first combo we need Grinder Golem and Purple Dusk. With both of the combos I'm going to show, we use Grinder Golem since you need materials to play on your opponent's side of the field, but you can all create your own scenarios with cards your opponent leaves behind since this deck heavily relies on your opponent placing cards on board in order for you to get your summons or effects. Alrighty then. To get started, we summon Grinder Golem in one of the 2 extra monster zone columns and summon 2 tokens. With the tokens, we make a Link Spider and a Link Karibo. Using these 2 cards, then we make Akashic, whose effect allows us to bounce Grinder Golem back to hand. We want to summon it again, placing it in front of Akashic Magician. Using the 2 tokens that we acquire again, we will summon another Link Spider and activate Link Karibo's Graveyard effect to special summon it. So right now, using these 3 monsters, we will finally make Borreload Dragon. We will summon Purple Dusk behind Borreload Dragon and activate its effect to search a Seer Blue. In this case, you would need to go into the battle phase to attack with Borreload to get back Grinder Golem, and then attack with both Grinder Golem and Azure Blue. So one of the things I noticed when putting the video together, though, is you should attack first with Purple Dusk and Borreload in order to put 5,500 damage on board, versus 54 if you search out Azure Blue first. After the battle phase, with the 2 level 8s, you can make Hope Harbinger, and this is your final board. So the combo is fairly decent. Using 2 cards, you put 2 strong monsters on board that are difficult to deal with. And another nice thing is that your Purple Dust comes back next turn. Hope Harbinger will have at least 1 disruption for your opponent, so that is also very helpful. Alright, then, moving on towards the second combo, you need once again Grinder Golem, but this time we use Jack-Knight of the Blue Sky. Additionally, we need any spell or trap since you need to be able to set at least 1 card. For this case, I just use Dark Hole as the dummy card you can set. So to get started, again, we summon Grinder Golem using in one of the 2 extra monster zone columns and then summon 2 tokens. With the tokens, we make a Link Spider and a Link Karibo again, and then using these 2 cards, we make Akashic. We want to summon Grinder Golem again, but this time place it on either side of Akashic, but not in front of it. Using the 2 tokens, we will summon another Link Spider and then activate Link Karibo's Graveyard effect to special summon it. We will set our dummy card in front of Grinder Golem and then summon Blue Sky Searching Purple Dusk with its effect. Using these 4 monsters, we summon Skulldie. So Skulldie is a pretty good card. We should be getting an Extreme Force. Depending on the number of different names you use to link it, you can get an increasing number of effects. So the best effect is that using 4 different names, it allows you to draw 4 cards that put back 3 in the bottom of the deck. In this case, I did not draw what I needed, but if in these 4 cards you draw any monster with 2300 or more attack, you can OTK your opponent. So I just searched it, so do not get confused by that. In this case, I just searched Azure Blue to showcase a combo. But it could be anything. It doesn't have to be Azure Blue since you will not be special summoning it with a Jack-Knight effect, but rather with Skulldie's second effect, which is if you use 3 or more monsters, you can go ahead and special summon a card from your hand. Okay, so with that, you're going to special summon Purple Dusk using its effect on the column of Grinder Golem and activate its effect to search out Crimson Lotus. summon Lotus with its own effect, and then special summon Azure Blue or whatever monster you found with Skull Deed's effect. So now, the last effect of Skull Deed is that any monster special summoned to one of its marked zones gains 300 attack and defense. So the monster would be boosted. The monsters would be boosted. After that, we're going to go and activate Lotus's effect to banish a Mekk-Knight to destroy Golem. So now, if you go into the battle phase, Skull Deed, Lotus, and any monster with 2300 or more attack, due to the boost they get from Skull Deed, is over 8000 damage. So this combo is more for damage and does not really set up much control unlike the first one. But also notice that if your opponent controls a spell or trap set, you do not need your own dummy one, and furthermore, Blue Sky can search out 2 monsters, so you do not have to rely on Skull Deed's draw to get it. So this is pretty much it for the combos. There are many more you can try, but the main issue with showing the combos is that you need to have your opponent have something on board, so it's a little bit difficult to create those scenarios. But hope you guys can find these useful. So with that, I would like to thank you all for watching this video and invite you all to like, subscribe, and comment any ideas you may have on improving this deck. For my next video, I am planning on looking into Pendulum Magicians using Heavy Metal Foes Electrum. Electrum adds so much to the deck and makes it much stronger, and without a doubt, it's likely to be a meta contender, if not the meta deck, due to its consistency and the ridiculous fields it can make. Well, with that, once again, thank you all, and I will see you next time.